It is now time for the 2025 World Series. You saw last episode, we finally got over the hump in the NLCS, or our hump was technically the NLDS against the Padres, which we beat them in a best-of-5 series, and then it took a best-of-7 to come out on top over the Chicago Cubs in the NLCS, and now we move on to the World Series against the Boston Red Sox, who have pretty easily, or very easily, handled everyone they've played. They took on the Twins in the ALDS fresh off a wildcard game, swept them. Took on the Tigers after shocking the Angels, swept them too. So the Boston Red Sox have not lost a game this entire postseason, and we are looking to change that heading into Game 1 of the World Series, where it'll be Jay Groom, the former Boston Red Sox prospect, going against Shohei Ohtani. So nothing going right out of the gates in this one. We'll pick things up in the bottom half of the second inning where Carmen Castaneda's going to triple. So he's immediately in scoring position, and then Fuentes drives him in on a suicide squeeze, makes it a 1-0 lead. But then the top of the third, Swihart immediately ties the game up with a solo shot. And then later on in the inning, Benintendi would walk, Newman would walk, and then Olsen is going to drive one of them in as the other one gets thrown out, take it a 2-1 lead, and then a 3-1 lead after an RBI single from Conforto. So a 3-1 Sox lead as we move things on to the bottom half of the fourth inning, where the Giants are back at the dish facing Ohtani. Gallo singles, Munoz strikes out, Castaneda walks, Fuentes drives a run in, makes it a 3-2 ball game, so they're right back in it as a one-run game, but then Benintendi comes up in the top of the fifth, hits a solo shot, makes it 4-2, and then we move things on to the top of the sixth, where Jason Tutman enters the game for the Giants, gives up a double to Hermosillo, and then Castillo drives him and makes it a 5-2 lead for the Sox. So now we're on to the bottom half of the seventh, where Fuentes is going to single off Ohtani. Then Jock Peterson's at the dish. He strikes out, has not had a great postseason. Then Jorge Figueroa comes in as a pinch hitter. He's going to single, so it's first and second with one out for Hacker, who then strikes out, but Ramos drives them in, makes it a one-run game again. 5-4 is the score. We move things on to the bottom of the eighth, where Phil Maton, the former Padre, enters for the Red Sox, gives up a game-tying home run to Jairo Munoz, and then a go-ahead home run to Gilberto Fuentes, and that would be the end of this game, as the Red Sox could not get anything going in their ninth inning, and we take Game 1 and hand the Red Sox their first loss of the entire 2025 postseason, as we take a 1-0 series lead. We move things on to Game 2, where it'll be Marco Murillo for us going against Jose Barrios for the Red Sox. So once again, nothing going on right out of the gates, as Murillo pretty easily handles the Red Sox in the top of the first inning, works a scoreless top half of the first, but then in the bottom of the first, Hacker would ground out, Ramos walks, Baez strikes out, and then Gallo hits a 2-run shot, makes it a 2-0 lead for the Giants. Munoz then walks, Castaneda walks, but Fuentes flies out, so it's only a 2-0 lead as we move things on to the top of the second, where Murillo gets through that one. And then in the bottom of the second, Figueroa triples, then gets driven in on a squeeze by Murillo. It's a 3-0 lead. We move things on to the bottom of the third, where it's second and third now with nobody out, and Carmen Castaneda's at the dish, drives in a run and a sac fly, makes it a 4-0 lead. Nothing else going on in that inning. So we're going on to the top of the fourth now, where Murillo is able to work through the first couple guys, but then he gives up a RBI 2-run double to Chavis, which is a 4-2 score now. They cut the lead in half. So top of the fifth, Willie Arroyo comes on, gives up a double to Benintendi. Newman grounds out, and then Olsen drives in Benintendi to make it a 4-3 game. So they're right back in it. And then in the bottom half of the fifth, we would strike for one as Castaneda hits a home run, makes it a 5-3 game. And then with Jacob deGrom on the hill in the bottom of the seventh, gives up a single to Baez, and then a 2-run shot to Gallo. It's now a 7-3 lead as we are running away with it yet again. Now we're on to the eighth. Austin Maddox comes on with 2 on, gives up a walk, and then Baez hits a grand slam. 11-3 is now the score. They would tack on 1, and the final score in this one is 11-4, as we absolutely mollywop, wipe the floor with the Boston Red Sox pitching in that game. And now not only have the Red Sox lost their first game, they have lost 2 in a row in this postseason, as somehow we have come out swinging the bats and pitching well enough to beat this team first 2 games. So it's a 2-0 series lead. Game 3 is Chris Sale, the former Red Sox, taking on Sean Manaea. So top of the first, Hacker is going to strike out right away to lead things off, but then Ramos hits a solo shot to make it a 1-0 game, move things on to the bottom of the third, and Hermosillo is going to hit a home run to tie it up at 1, and then a whole bunch of absolutely nothing happens as we move things on all the way to the bottom of the 7th, where it's bases loaded for the Red Sox. Sale is replaced by J.B. Bukauskas with 2 outs, and he would get out of the jam as he gets Swihart to pop up. Now we move things on to the bottom of the 8th, where Bukauskas walks Olsen, then pinch ran for by Ohtani with 2 outs, then a walk to Conforto, and then Chavis singles, so it's bases loaded again. This time they're going to bring on Jason Tupman with a 2-out bases loaded jam, and he would proceed to get out of it as he strikes out Ramon Torres. Top of the 9th now, Austin Maddox is replaced by Daniel Norris for the Red Sox in a 1-1 game. Gallo singles. Munoz is then going to fly out, and then Castaneda is going to hit a single. So it's runners on the corners, and Fuentes drives in a run on a squeeze. It's now a 2-1 ball game. That's all they would get as we move things on to the bottom of the 9th, where Brandon Finnegan comes on for the Giants, looking to close things out. Striker gets the first 2 batters out, but then Swihart ties it up with a solo shot. They weren't done there, though. Benintendi singles. Newman would then draw a walk, so it's first and second, 2 out, and Mercado comes on and hits a walk-off RBI single as the Red Sox finally win a game in the World Series. It's now a 2-1 lead for the Giants. And we move things on to Game 4, where it is Colby Allard on the hill for the Giants and Luis Castillo going for the Boston Red Sox. And we're going to have some action right out of the gate as Hacker proceeds to walk, and then he steals second base. Ramos then grounds out, so runner on second, runner on third now after Baez singles. He then steals second to get 2 into scoring position. Gallo then crushes a bomb 3-run shot right out of the gates. The Giants have a 3-0 lead. They tried to tack on more in the inning, but they could not get any more, so it's a 3-run lead as we move things on to the bottom of the first, where Benintendi hits a home run, gets the Red Sox on the board. It's a 3-1 score. Move things along to the top of the 4th now, where Figueroa is going to single to get on first base. He then swipes second, and then Hacker drives him in. It's a 4-1 ball game now. Top of the 5th, Castaneda gets on. He's going to swipe second, and Fuentes drives him in with a 2-run shot. It's a 6-1 ball game now. We move things on all the way to the end of the game, where the Red Sox did manage to tack on a few more runs to make it a 6-4 ball game, but no more than that, as that is your final in this one, as the Giants have taken a 3-1 lead in this series, thanks to big performances from their offense, and their pitching has gotten the job done quite well in this series so far. So the Red Sox have their back up against the wall as we move things on to an elimination game. It's Game 5 of the 2025 World Series as the Giants have a 3-1 series lead over the Red Sox. They took the first 2 games, then lost a walk-off to the Red Sox in Game 3, and then Game 4 they won. So it's going to be Shohei Ohtani getting the start for the Red Sox. Has had a great postseason so far, and then Jay Groom, the former Red Sox farmhand, going for the Giants. Not having the greatest postseason numbers, but he does get the start nonetheless to try to close out the series. Take a look at the Giants lineup 1-9 on the day, as well as the opposing Boston Red Sox lineup 1-9. We'll start things off top half of the first inning. Ryan Hacker at the dish takes a pitch right off that big arm guard of his, so he'll take his base, and then he proceeds to make Ohtani pay as he goes and swipes second base, gets himself right into scoring position, and then Elliot Ramos delivers as he's going to hit a ball off that green monster in left center field. Hits off the top of the wall, bounces over the center fielder. He has to jump to field this one, so Ramos is able to take advantage and get into third base with a triple. 1-0 is the score, and then Baez hits a deep fly ball to right center field. It's not going to be deep enough for a hit, but it's plenty deep enough to score Ramos. It's now a 2-0 lead as the Giants score 2 right out of the gate. Move things on top of the second. Giants back at the dish yet again. Gilberto Fuentes is going to split the fielders in right center. That one rolls up against the wall, and that's an easy 2-bagger for the fleet-footed Fuentes. So then with 2 outs later in the inning, Ryan Hacker's at the dish. He's going to slap one the other way. Fuentes rounding third, being aggressive, and he is going to score. A 3-0 lead for the Giants. Later on in the inning, Hacker would go and swipe second base for his second stolen bag of the day, and then with 2 outs, Ramos then hits a ball over to third base, fielded in foul territory, fire across the diamond. Ramos is safe, but Hacker being ultra aggressive, it's not going to pay off as he's gunned at the plate, but the Giants do still have a 3-0 lead, as we will now check in on Jay Groom, and his pitching on the day gives up a single here, I should say, to lead off the inning to Castillo, but then Swihart goes down looking on a perfectly placed pitch, and then after that it would be a ground ball over to second base that's turned into an inning-ending 4-6-3 double play, so the 3-0 lead remains. Bottom of the fourth, another leadoff single, this one past the diving glove of Gallo, the other one was past the leaping glove of Gallo. But this time it's going to be the second batter who grinds into double play. Almost the exact same ball, 4-6-3, tailor-made, and then move things on to the top of the sixth after Groom eliminates the threat in the fourth. Munoz is going to draw himself a walk, so he's on first base. That'll be the end of Ohtani's day as Aaron Sanchez is making his first postseason appearance here in the World Series. And then Castaneda bloops one out to right center field. The center fielder cannot make the catch, and that's going to be a double. So it's second and third for the Giants. They then intentionally walk Gilberto Fuentes to load the bases, and the rookie Reynel Delgado hits a ball to deep right field. It is going to be caught right before the track, but it does tag up two runners, scores 1 run. It's now a 4-0 game. Figueroa then comes to the plate, rips one into right field. That's going to score another, a 5-0 game. But then Fuentes is gunned down to third base by the throw from the right fielder. Move things on to the bottom of the seventh, where Matt Olson is going to split the gap in left center field with a base knock that's going to turn into an extra base knock as he has 2 bags on that one. He's in scoring position. Next batter up, Conforto gets a fastball blown right past him for out number 2. And then Michael Chavis goes down on the curveball that locks him up. Groom works out of it. And we move things on to the top of the ninth, where Jorge Figueroa, with 2 runners on and 2 outs, as Ramos drives in 2 runs, and it's now going to be a 7-0 game. Move things on to the bottom of the ninth. Groom trying to get that complete game shutout. Ground ball to third base. Gallo chucks across the diamond, and there you have it. Your 2025 World Series champions are the San Francisco Giants. Jay Groom comes into his old team's ballpark and dominates them after having a bit of a shaky postseason, completely shuts down the Red Sox roster in this Game 5, as the Giants did this entire series, a team that did not lose a single game all postseason coming into this World Series, then loses 4-1 as the Giants handle them easily, and they are crowned champions of the world here in 2025. And not only does this wrap things up here for this edition of the San Francisco Giants franchise, this will wrap things up for the entire San Francisco Giants franchise. A fitting way to close it, if you ask me, as we finally get over our hump in the NLDS to take over the Padres. Then we beat the Cubs in 7 games, and then knock off, I should say, the Boston Red Sox, who have been a powerhouse throughout this entire series in the American League, winning multiple World Series, and we knock them off, take them off their streak, and win one for ourselves, finally. So with that being said, that's going to wrap things up here for the San Francisco Giants franchise. We will see you with some more MLB probably once the next MLB game comes out. I've been your host, Jerseyborn, and I'm saying goodbye.